Hello everybody, Senior Engineer, MBA, and Investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about Ginkgo Bioworks receiving equity from from the public Canadian company called Cronos Group. Now, for people that don't know any of these companies that I just mentioned, I made a video on Ginkgo Bioworks. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I sort of dived into the company based on what the CEO Jason Kelly talked about, and I sort of made some parallels with Moderna, basically the software of life. It's being nicknamed like that by many experts in the field. And I also mentioned about Cronos there, and Cronos is basically already has an existing partnership with Ginkgo Bioworks. Now, Cronos, just high level, it is a weed company, right? So in Canada, it has been legalized, cannabis has been legalized, and this company, Cronos, they are obviously involved in the cannabis industry. Now, Ginkgo Bioworks is not just about human therapeutics, guys. They are all over the place, right? When it comes to biology, biology is not limited to just humans. Maybe we like to think so, but fortunately, biology is much more than just human. It's plants, vegetation, livestock, animal, material sciences. Like there's so many things, right? And obviously, Ginkgo Bioworks has established a partnership with Cronos, and this has been going for a while, right? It's all over their presentation. Whenever Ginkgo Bioworks talks about their company and gives any updates, they always bring up this partnership because it's a significant one. Cronos is worth a few $1 billion. I think they're worth like $3 billion market cap. In fact, in 2019, it was worth like 4 or 5 billion. Ever since the whole cannabis industry sort of failed since then, but things are going to obviously eventually pick up because the cannabis industry is here to stay. But anyways, that's besides the point here. What I did want to cover here is that the title here, the news that Kronos Groups and Ginkgo Bioworks announced achievement of equity milestone in partnership to produce cultural cannabinoids, right? By achieving commercial scale production of CBG, the company are now on track to enable access to rare cannabis molecules, right? So we know what Ginkgo Bioworks does. If you don't know what they do, I'll link the video that I made, like I said, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, really diving deep into what the company does. Ginkgo Bioworks is still not a public company, but they are expecting to merge with a SPAC, right? And that is the SPAC SRNG. So if you Google that, RNG, which is basically the Soaring Eagle Acquisition Corp, you'll basically see the SPAC stock, public stock, but eventually they will merge and they will de-SPAC. I guess that's the term these days, de-SPAC, where they'll be officially merged and they will have their own stock ticker symbol. So really quickly on this partnership, I really find it interesting that Ginkgo was able to get 1.5 million common shares from a public company like Chrono Groups. You got to remember the cannabis industry is has recently declined. Like I said, since 2019, it sort of peaked, but things are going to eventually be picked up as more places legalize cannabis, as more businesses enter into space, as more merchants start purchasing a lot more cannabis from those regions and so on. You'll eventually see a pickup, a positive run up, a rally in this industry. But what's really, really interesting is that this company, this biotech company, don't forget, guys, Ginkgo Bioworks is a biotech company, genomics company, whatever you want to call them, and they're in the biology industry. And what's amazing is they're able to get equity from a company like Cronos Group, right? It's a public company, so their partnership has now allowed Ginkgo Bioworks to own equity, right? So that's what we talk about being a platform, right? So that's the playbook for Moderna. What Moderna did with COVID-19, the vaccine, right? With AstraZeneca, right? 50% of the profits, right, from the licensing, and then 100% their own vaccine, right? Obviously, everybody knows about the Moderna vaccine by now. So that's what Ginkgo Bioworks. I feel like they're sort of playing right their playbook, right? They're building these partnerships, like owning these equities. And Jason Kelly has never hidden that. The CEO of the company has never hidden that. He always talks about how yes, you can make money from licensing deals and from partnership revenues, but ultimately, if you can own equity from these companies, in hopes that in future, right, their products will sort of mature in a sense where these companies like Chrono Group can eventually profit from those profits, as from those products that Ginkgo Bioworks help them produce. I think that's just amazing, right? So a few comments from Jason Kelly here. He tweeted, "Insanely excited to announce a milestone with Cronos, where Ginkgo receives 1.5 million Cron shares as downstream value share. This is a key part of Ginkgo's App Store business model, right? Ecosystem, right? They're really. I love how Kelly here he always makes reference to like the SaaS industry, the software industry, and obviously the App Store is a reference to the iOS App Store from Apple, right? Where Apple is sort of like this platform where other companies sort of pay Apple to have their apps on the platform, and that's sort of similar to what Kelly's trying to position Ginkgo Bioworks, and that's the reason why the company is worth right now $17.5 billion right now as the D-SPAC happens, right? That's part of what we talked about in our video. So we love getting your products to commercial scale. To meet the milestone, we exceeded Chronos productivity target. So there are exceeding targets, they're exceeding milestones set previously, and this is going really well. They're talking a little bit more specific here. I'm pumped about the over 50 ongoing sales programs from 2020 and 30 more we're adding this year. Cool to see them off the line faster and faster. The Ginkgo's App Store business model lines up with customers to get products like CBGA to market ASP. Fermentation of cannabis is a more sustainable, cheaper way to make these products. Awesome to see Cron take the lead here. Biotech will be needed to compete in the cannabis industry going forward. Congrats to the Corner Brews, Sends Gummies, ACP. So a little bit of trolling there, more please, and so on. I love his attitude. He has like this sarcastic attitude. But obviously, this guy, he knows what he's doing. He's sort of positioning his company to become like the Apple of the biotech side. Really interesting. A lot of bulls out there for this company. But there are some bears, in terms of valuation. Is it really worth $17.5 billion as they de-SPAC? I mean, that's the market to decide. That's the public to decide. Markets to decide. It is expected they will do this in Q3. We are in Q3, so it should be in the following weeks, right? I'm expecting this to be by end of September. I really do expect Ginkgo Bioworks to be public with their own stock ticker symbol, and you'll be able to invest in them directly. They've talked about an investor presentation recently how they are adding ongoing programs, and these programs, guys, don't forget, these not just licensing deals, but there's potential to own equity. That's so big, just like what we see here with Cronos here. This is so big. I love what I'm seeing here. Human therapeutics, we talked a lot about with CRISPR, with genome editing companies. But when you start seeing, vegetation plants, like obviously what they're doing here, what you're seeing here, to me, this shows the potential of what biotech can be, what synthetic biology can really bring you to, right? This is what genomics is all about, right? And don't forget, guys, computer science software, it's all about moving information. But in biotech, it's about moving atoms to atoms, right? And that's where the total addressable markets become so huge, so vast. Really bullish about this news. I'm happy for Kelly and his team. We'll see how it unfolds. We'll see how Ginkgo Bioworks becomes a public company in the stock, as their stock, they get their own stock ticker in the public markets as they de-SPAC with the soaring Eagle Corp. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, like I promised in my video that I'll also link in this video, we'll be covering this company as they unfold in the upcoming weeks. Really bullish about this company. I know a lot of you are. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Like this video if you found value, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. Really helps this channel. Hit that notification bell, and we'll see each other in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.